Let me tell you what your first question is. Your first question to me is, why should people watching this interview bother to watch? And I'll tell you why. Because in a world of limited attention spans, as a comedian, I grab attention immediately, I retain that attention for a sustained period of time, and I communicate specific messages that I want my audience to get. I can guide marketeers on how to use these same strategies for their brands. The mistake a lot of marketeers do when they go to comedians is they say, we want a funny viral video.
Yeah.
Great, if you want to pay money to make me famous, you go for it. But if that content is not in line with your marketing objectives, if it's not in line with the exact messages you want to communicate to your target audience, then you're making a mistake. I mean, as an ideator who goes to a brand, the first thing I'm doing is not talking to them, I'm listening to them, right? And before you plan your communication strategy, the two questions you need to ask is, as far as your target audience is concerned, one, why should they give a crap about what you have to say? And secondly, as a result of your communication, what do you want them to think, feel, or do? That is what you have to define first. Then, based on that, we come up with concepts as to what can possibly be done to achieve these objectives. Humor is it's like a rubber sword. You can make a point without drawing any blood. So it's not about whether it fits in any vertical or not. It depends from brand to brand, from product to product, from message to message, right? Humor is a wonderful way to engage an audience and grab attention immediately and then get your message across. Firstly, when you say writing comedy for comedy's sake, comedy also has an end message. We also have a call to action. The important part is, see, today nobody wants to be sold to. You don't want to feel like somebody's selling stuff to you. So the strength lies in the story that you're telling. Your story has to be strong and the brand needs to fit into that story somehow. If it comes across that it's being force-fitted, the audience can see that. And they know they're being sold to, they don't want that. I have performed with Mukesh Ambani in the audience, sitting next to his mother, right? So forget a vegetarian show, that was a Jain show. I've taken out the onions as well. So I think what corporates and marketeers need to realize that clean comedy is an option, right? We can customize comedy to speak your brand language, right? You have to educate us on what your brand language is and what your objectives are. I mean, as a marketeer, you are making a mistake if you go to a comedian and say, what can you do for me, right? You have to tell them, this is the problem I am trying to solve. What do you suggest? I know a brand that has used a professional stand-up comedian very effectively for their marketing. It's a brand called Sprite, and they work with this very talented and very modest comedian by the name of Papa CJ. So I conceptualized a campaign for them where I went into colleges across the country, right from Silchar in Assam to Bangalore to Jaipur, and I spoke to the students and I asked them about all their problems, all the hypocrisy in their college, all the things they had challenges with. Based on that, I created a stand-up comedy show. And 2 hours later, I performed that in their college in front of that audience. By the end of it, I was on stage addressing their issues, and I would shout "Seedhi baat" after addressing one of these issues, and I would have 1,000 students shouting back "No bakwas." So when you talk about integration, what's most important is the brand comes first. It's not about the comedian. I think my act is unimportant in this. It's all about the brand, and then depending on the campaign and what is appropriate for it, you can integrate that amount of brand. I wouldn't even say you have to integrate the brand into comedy. You're looking at it the wrong way. You've got to integrate comedy into the brand. in a situation like this specific Sprite campaign, right? Of course, the students know it's sponsored by Sprite, right? I mean, the entire backdrop has Sprite written on it.
Yeah.
But everything I'm talking about on stage is about them. Sprite happens to be at the back.
Yeah.
Right? When I say Seedhi baat no bakwas, they're not thinking, oh, brand. They're thinking, yeah, he's talking about what we feel strongly about.
Yeah.
So that's why they're on board.